25 moments that changed the story of Indian cricket. That's what we set out to do a couple of months ago. And as you must have observed, we've talked a fair bit about spinners in the 10 episodes. That's how it was. But today it's going to change, because on number 15 of this countdown called India's Top 25, we are talking about the arrival of a once-in-a-generation fast bowler. The name is Bumrah, Jasprit Bumrah. Often hailed as a national treasure on social media, and rightly so. Just like the fictional JB, this JB also puts on a show, whether home or away. But in this episode, let's understand what it means for Indian cricket to have stumbled upon a gem called Jasprit Bumrah. We've talked enough about India's strong spin tradition and the reasons for its stronghold on Indian cricket too. And all of that meant pacers of the highest quality were difficult to find in Indian cricket. There wasn't necessarily a lack of them, but the playing conditions and a great lack of understanding on how to keep them injury-free meant that many with great potential had to leave the stage early, with unsatisfactory results sometimes. Let me remind you, there was even a period where the role of pacers, as they were called, that they weren't always pacers by the way, was limited to just making the ball old quickly enough for spinners to come into action. But things began to change since the 80s. The success of Kapil Dev in that decade, then the arrival of Javagal Srinath in the 90s and Zaheer Khan in the new century meant a fast bowling tradition was also beginning to write its own story. Arguably though, the most fascinating chapter of this tradition is being written currently by Jasprit Bumrah. And the arrival of Bumrah on the big stage is a story right out of the books. In fact, we owe a debt of gratitude to a gentle Kiwi who made quite a few contributions to Indian cricket, mind you. John Wright, India's coach in the early 2000s, was scouting for the Mumbai Indians in the Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy when he noticed this young boy with a unique action. Now, we can only wonder what Wright saw in 2013, but whatever he did, a contract to play for Mumbai Indians came quickly, and so did a debut cap presented by none other than Sachin Tendulkar. A bit of baptism by fire followed when this young man first started. Coming in and bowling everything coming in. Virat Kohli saw that, smashed the young bowler for 3 boundaries in 4 deliveries. But on the 5th, Bumrah struck. Start of something special, you think? Well, when it comes to fast bowling, the beginnings can often prove to be deceptive. And with an action like Bumrah, there was always a worry of how long he can go without hurting himself, which in fact happened to some extent in 2014. And that's why the selectors decided to wait and watch. But what they saw of him, be it with the white ball or the red ball, was mighty impressive, especially after that recovery. Inevitably, the India call-up followed in 2016, and what's happened after that has been a special story that's unfolded in front of everyone's eyes. But let's not forget that it's not been a journey without its own set of challenges. The loss of a father at an early age meant that Bumrah, with just his mother and sister to lean on, grew up faster than kids his age. The young boy found his joy in bowling fast and, very interestingly, developed a tendency to bowl at the base of the wall of his drawing room so that he didn't end up disturbing his mother. Yes, the Yorkers that we see today developed in a small house in Gujarat. But his unique action meant that at an early age, people doubted the legality of it. And it even came to a point where the youngster contemplated moving to Canada. Just imagine if that had happened. Luckily for India, it didn't. He made his India debut in 2016, and by the end of the year, with 45 wickets across T20s and ODIs, had successfully translated his potential into performance. The quick arm action that produced Yorkers at will was proving too good even for the best at the highest level. The action that some foresaw as a limitation was proving to be a strength because he released the ball later than most did. But could he do all of that with a red ball, where batters have all the time in the world? In 2018, when he was finally given his Test cricket debut, He showed that he was just waiting for the opportunity. After orchestrating a famous win against South Africa in Joburg with a fifer, he closed the year with a performance for the ages at Melbourne that gave India their first series win in Australia. 48 wickets in just 9 tests in 2018. Just like he had done in white ball cricket, within a year of making his debut in red ball cricket, Bumrah had risen up to be counted as among the best in the business. And that is what makes Bumrah so special. An ability to think deeply about the game and his own skills, but also a great desire to improve all the time. It is a trait that the truly best demonstrate. And you can see that with Bumrah. As the Yorker arrived, the outswinger arrived, the slower ball arrived, every time you looked at Bumrah, you thought you were seeing a better player. But India isn't an easy place to play your cricket, mind you, even if you're as good as Bumrah. Every time he proved himself with the ball, another expectation was immediately placed on his shoulder. That's a price that every cricketer has paid for his stardom. For Bumrah, despite his successes, the detractors kept asking him, can he replicate his red ball success on the more benign, spin-friendly tracks at home? And can he prove to be a match winner for India in knockouts at the ICC trophies? Now, such constant doubting of abilities can sometimes erode one's self-confidence. But there has to be a secret reservoir from which Bumrah draws his self-belief. For time and again, he has not only answered his critics, he has silenced them into submission. Such has been his impact in home tests that he has often managed to overshadow the spinners. And to win a World Cup final the way he did in the Caribbean, with the opposition needing 30 from 30 deliveries, I wonder how many bowling performances in a final can top that. So that is Jasprit Bumrah for you. An absolute freak of nature, a once-in-a-generation talent who has changed how India looks at its best fast bowlers. They are now our match winners. We don't hide them anymore, we unleash them, whether at home or away. And the start of the pack stands this man who every batter knows has 10 different ways of getting them out. Surely, Jasprit Bumrah's contribution in changing Indian cricket will be written in golden letters. If he stays injury-free, he will finish as one of the greats of the game. And a question to end, like always. Bumrah made an instant impact with 3 5-wicket hauls in his first year of Test cricket, all of which led to away wins. We talked about 2, those that were achieved in Johannesburg and Melbourne. Tell me the venue at which the remaining one was taken in 2018. I'll wait for your answers. So thanks for watching and do subscribe to this channel.